Not much goes on in Hays, Kansas, but there is slightly a dark cloud that hangs over the name of Hays, Kansas. And that dark cloud is whatever happened to Mary Lang. We're gonna go back to October 21st, 1983. It's about 12:45 p.m. and the weather is starting to cool drastically. And it's about that time of the year where you go into the closet and you get your sweater out because it's not t-shirt weather anymore. The Chestnut building right here, this used to be the First National Bank right here. Up above, there used to be the law offices of Tom Boone. And this is where Mary Lang worked, in this building right here. She was kind of like his secretary slash gopher slash assistant. She had only been working here for about 3 weeks. Now, she did graduate from Fort Hays University, and she got a bachelor's degree in social work. Now, previous to her getting a job right here, she had moved down to Dallas the year previous in 1980 because she's looking for work in her field of study. Now, she would live in Dallas, Texas for about 4 months. Mary Lang was a small town girl, and it would be quite a culture shock to move to a big city, in particular Dallas, Texas. You got a lot of traffic, you got a lot of people, everyone's kind of fighting with each other over a job. So it might be a little bit difficult for somebody who's used to a smaller town such as Hays. It would be very intimidating to go to Dallas of all places, because that place combined with Fort Worth is quite huge. She would only last about 4 months there. She says, I'm out of here. Big city life just isn't for her. So she would move back here and get an apartment with her friends. And then of course her friends would later on dissipate. They would start, getting new jobs, moving to different cities. And so she would stay in the apartment alone. And a young woman, 31 years old, kind of reinventing herself, starting anew. She gets the job right here. It would look good on her resume, her working for an attorney. So on that day, October 21st, 1983, Attorney Boone tells her, hey, I need you to bring these papers to another attorney's office not very far from here. I need them signed, then if you can bring them back to me. Should have took no more than 30 minutes, an hour at the max if, she wanted to stop and, grab a cup of coffee or whatever. And so she gets into her 1976 Datsun 280Z, and she would make her way down Main Street right here, and she would go to the next corner. We're gonna go visit that place right now. We fast forward in this story about 4 hours. So now it's about 5:30 p.m. and the law offices of Tom Boone, they're now closed, and he's getting kind of worried. It's already been well over 4 hours, an errand that should have only took about 30 minutes, an hour at the most. It's already been well over 4 hours, and he has not heard from Mary. And the attorney that she was supposed to go to have the paperwork signed by him, Tom calls his office and he says, hey, have you seen Mary with the paperwork? And he says no. At this point now, he's a little bit worried, so he calls the police. I'm not sure if they file a missing persons report. Hays is not a very big town, so, there's a be on the lookout for her vehicle. An officer with the Hays Police Department arrives to this parking lot right here. This used to be a city parking lot. Now it's a business. Now it's like a bar. And they see her Datsun parked right here. When they pull up to the car, the door is slightly ajar. And they look inside. Her purse is there. Nothing looks out of the ordinary other than the fact that you left your car door open, which is strange in itself. They call for another officer to arrive, and they're calling her apartment. this, in a sense, is the exact area where her car was found, and the story gets even slightly more sinister. So now there is an all-out search for Mary Lang from the Hayes Police Department and other surrounding law enforcement agencies in the area. So 5 days later, on the 26th of October, in Yosemite, which is about 7 miles northwest of here, Mary Lang's coat was found neatly folded under a bridge alongside of a ditch. And in the pocket of the coat, the jacket, were her car keys. And something else also pertaining to the case is kind of disturbing as well. One of Mary's friends, about a few weeks after her disappearance, had told the police that Mary had confided to her that she had received some obscene phone calls. I don't know past that what the context of the calls were, but the word obscene pretty much tells us the answer to that question. And as they were looking through her stuff, somebody had read her journal, and a kind of an odd entry in her journal. She said that she had a dream that she was at a supermarket and somebody was trying to kill her. And then in another entry, she wrote this very cryptic message, quote, and this is after she had gotten into a pretty bad car accident where she was hospitalized for about 3 days. Quote, I was afraid to drive for a while, but finally decided if I was going to die, my number was up and there was nothing I could do about it, or there was no way I can get out of it. When God wants me, he'll get me, I'm sure. I have a strange feeling I'm going to die young, but then I really don't want to live to be old, unquote. And also, this creep right here might be the answer to this mystery. This is Stephen Carl Holdren. And right now and forevermore, he will always be a person of interest in this case. Stephen Carl Holdren is a very, very violent, sadistic creep. He was previously charged with the murder of Sharon Leading back in August 31st of 1977. She had been shot in her face and her head. He was arrested for her murder, and he goes on trial and he's found not guilty. I don't know how the hell that happened, but it wouldn't take him very long to get into more trouble, because in 1978, he got arrested for, guess what? Making obscene phone calls. Fast forward 3 years later, 1981, and he's arrested for indecent exposure. But he has an encore for everybody. So back in July of 1985, there was a student that went to the same school that Mary Lang went to, Fort Hays State University, and she was checking her mail outside of her apartment. Just as she was going back into her place, Stephen Carl Holdren comes out with a gun, sticks it right in her face, and he says, "Don't scream, don't do anything. This is a real gun and it has real bullets." He forces her inside and he proceeds to gun whip her in the side of the head, and she starts screaming, and he, to silence those screams, shoots her in the chest. Now, luckily, this girl survived. So eventually, he's arrested and charged with aggravated robbery, aggravated kidnapping, aggravated assault, and I don't know why, but he just, I guess just to kind of skip the whole court thing, he ends up taking a deal. They drop some of the charges, and he ends up getting a life sentence. And in 2019, he died in prison. So the question remains, what happened to Mary Lang? She disappeared from downtown. And by the way, I brought him up because a few people in the area seen him in downtown Hays on the same day at the same time that Mary had went missing. So in all likelihood, you got a pervert, a deviant, a very violent man, violent towards women. He already took the life of one woman, almost took the life of another, what are the chances that he did the same thing to Mary Lang, pulls out a gun when she's about to get into her car and forces her into his vehicle and does God knows what? I think the answer to that question, more than likely, he took to his grave. We'll never know. We'll never know what happened to her, but guess it's just going to be one of those unsolved mysteries.